Does he have queens in position? He has a singular queen and a couple of lings here. Oliveira will be landing here on creep and is starting to move out now towards the bottom of this main base, but Dark is there to meet him. Don't mind, gonna target onto the queen there, does damage it, and Oliveira wants to dive in for it. Will grab it, but the medevac is zoned out here, so these Marines may just be trapped here. Medevac does go down, these Marines will all go down as well. Trying to pick off a queen, but the control is there from Dark, who's able to save it. And Oliveira trying to be as annoying as he can because he knows that this push from Dark coming up may just have enough sting left in it. His third CC has just finished up and has finished morphing into an orbital command here. That's not going to help him much against all of these roaches and these Ravagers now knocking on Oliveira's front door. We have files coming down every which way, making connections with the Marines there. The siege tank in the back, though, is doing work. How many kills does it have? 8 kills on that siege tank will, in fact, force Dark to push backwards here, excuse me. But actually going to land some decent biles on this third CC. Oliveira, though, just needs to get his footing established and will be able to, again, shrug Dark off of this third base position. Both of these players trying to strike decisive blows against the other, but so far unable to do so as well. Oliveira able to catch Dark a little bit flat-footed here. Grabs a cancel on that base. Dark doesn't care much for it, though, as he is making his move again onto this fourth position of Oliveira. We have his units split up into 2 different groups. Isn't working out for him, as this right-hand side is taking a lot of damage from those tanks. Left-hand side is able to push through, but at what cost? You're able to take out 2 tanks, though. It's Dark, and the trade may actually be pretty decent for him, all things considered. Let's take a look at that trade information here. Obviously, going to be a lot worse for the Zerg player here. Dark angling like he wants to go for an attack here. Does he have the units? I do believe so. That is a decent handful of roaches and Ravagers. Army supply looking at 144 Dark. Meanwhile, 106 for Oliveira. 36 roaches and 11 Ravagers. Is it going to be enough? We shall see here. Some miles do go down. A lot of siege tanks in the back line, though, for Oliveira. We see these siege tanks. They are going to do absolute work on those armored roaches, even on the Ravagers as well. I think Dark knows it. And he will be rotating backwards. Gonna try for a new avenue on this third base again. That command center is slightly bruised there, making some files. Can finish it off, but the siege tank count, again, is proving to be decisive for the defense. And Oliveira actually gonna stim in and catch Dark a little bit in a bad spot as he is moving up the ramp there. We'll lose a couple of overlords as well. And Oliveira so far proving to be pretty stalwart in his defense. I'll be able to give you the count in just a little bit, but not before we see Oliveira again trying to get some work done on this right side of this map. Just going to dive into the main base here. It is left relatively undefended. We do have Lings to be the first responders, and that main base is taken out there. Huge victory for Oliveira. Got to be annoying for Dark. It isn't so much of a mineral loss for Dark, but losing your main hatchery, never a good feeling. And Oliveira wanting to go for a second base will in fact grab it, proving to be just too slippery for Dark here in this match. 3 hatcheries have gone down, and now Oliveira wants to move on to this low ground, continue his macro expansion. Dark so far has been unable to slow down the expansion of Oliveira. Is able to take a decent trade there. Really would love a whole lot more than that. Has Banelings with the army this time. And we'll see if Oliveira is able to target fire those Banelings before they're able to make huge connections with the Bioforce here. Oliveira using that vision blocker excellently, though. You can see Dark has absolutely no vision of the siege tanks here, unless, of course, they start firing onto him. And this is a really brilliant position for Oliveira. He can see where Dark is at with these scans, has plenty of them to go around. Some snipes connecting there with the forces of Dark as well. And the control is so impressive from Oliveira. He's just inching his way forward, and Dark, trying as he might, cannot hold him off. These vials, though, actually making some decent connections, and there are some trades here between these two players isn't going to be enough. Baneling's trying to roll forward and make their connections. A handful of ghosts do go down as well. That is a huge pinch point, though, for the Ravagers of Dark. His part of the map here, prevent Oliveira from moving any far forward. The creep spread is there for Dark, but Oliveira doesn't seem to be too upset with that, as he's perfectly content with his position here. Again, continuing to power forward. Big Baneling connections there. Diving in again is Dark. Oliveira actually losing a decent amount of supply. But it is just pure Ghost on the front line, supported by the tanks in the back. 10 Ghost, 14 tanks for Oliveira, and they are spread all around. You can see here, as it does look like Oliveira now is feeling restless again. He's moving forward. Funkles do connect on a couple of Ghosts there. So there is Dark's first attempt and making some kind of magic happen with the infestors that he has. Has a decent amount with a good chunk of energy between them as well. Snipes there are pretty solid for Oliveira. And more Banelings are being morphed in here. Dark really just wants to try to clear the board of Terran units with the help of these Funkles and with the help of these Banelings. We'll see if the Funkle connections are going to be there so that these Banelings can make their desired explosive contact. We do have Broodlords joining the field now, and that is, they are perfect against these defensive Terran positions now. Only a singular Viking in the air to try to contest these Broodlords. Viper Yoink will take one Liberator there, and these Siege Tanks are incredibly exposed here on the left side. On the top side, we do have some Hellbats and some Ghosts to protect those Siege Tanks, but even they will not be enough. The Stark is continuing to press forward with the help of the Infestors and the Broodlords. And this is certainly giving Oliveira some pause, as some of his gains already have been reversed here. Just taking a look at the mini-map there, you'll see, in fact, just how far forward Oliveira has been able to push. And the fact that he's been able to do that against the Zerg is even more impressive. But Dark has had enough of that. Another wave of Broodlings will shave off the siege tank count. Now Oliveira trying to figure out an answer against these Broodlords. Already has a single Thor out. Second Thor is on the way. Excuse me, 2 Thors out. One more in production. That is so many Ghosts. Basically relying on pure Ghost here for the bio is Oliveira and a couple of Thors. The siege tank count is starting to dwindle for Oliveira. He seems okay with that though, as again, he is transitioning into that late game Terran composition. And Dark looking like he wants to set up some sort of multi-prong assault here with the Lings, with the Hydralisks. Ghosts will be able to shoot them away. And his Broodlords are unsupported so far, but again, without any solid anti-air. That is okay for Dark, though, as these Ghosts are coming through. Their snipes may be able to land on them. Forced to pick up this orbital command is Oliveira, as these Banelings are making their connections there with the Ghosts. So many to go down. Thor also is taken out there. Big clear by Dark. And that Thor count is continuing to grow as well. Thors are on the complete opposite side, though, to try to defend against this new wave from Dark. It will get lifted up by the medevacs. Here we go. Light of the Valkyries playing, as we do have these Thors diving in now, trying to stem this Zerg assault. Dark again will be falling back. 10 SCVs have fallen, as this was a successful Zergling Baneling run by. I apologize for not catching it earlier. That top right hand base was taken out. And again, Dark, Dark. Again, Dark is poking in on this left hand side. Attacking with the right, excuse me, feinting with the right and attacking with the left is Dark, and it is working out for him so far. Oliveira now looking like he's starting to struggle, and with these Thors up in the air, they're not on the ground where they should be to try to defend, and now Dark makes his move on this lower left-hand side of Oliveira, clearing out this orbital command. And now it is Oliveira's turn to be on the offensive. As Dark has given him a little bit of room to breathe, a little bit of room to decide to press forward. Oliveira slightly down in supply, has left this left-hand side completely undefended. This Ling run by is actually wrecking up shop on that left-hand side. At the same time, Dark is defending against this push out from Oliveira. The Ghosts and the Thors are pretty deadly though, and they will be able to shove off Dark's forces. But it does look like Oliveira is the one who is in the slightly worse position here. As Dark, these Lings are continuing to get so much done here in Dark's main bases, even with the help of these Brood Lords. In fact, forcing Dark to go all the way back home. And Dark, meanwhile, is giving chase to all of these Terran forces. Not exactly the position you want to be in as these Ghosts, even though they're cloaked up, there are Overseers, and a good, decent chunk of Ghosts do fall there. Oliveira trying to catch up to these Brood Lords, using the medivacs to drop the Thors. We'll actually lose a decent amount of Brood Lords there. Will these last two make it out? Looks like they will. Oliveira is mining more gas. That doesn't matter much when you have this huge engagement in the center of the map. These Lurkers doing absolute work against all of Oliveira's units. The Fungals are there as well. Brilliant Fungal connections from Dark, shaving off a lot of Oliveira's army there. And Dark able to pick and choose where he fights. Gonna rotate over to this top right-hand side. No planetary fortresses here on any of these bases, so just gonna have free reign, moving further and further into Oliveira's bases here. At the same time, Lings running into the natural, maybe up into the main base as well. Banelings trying to make connections on the SCVs there of that planetary fortress. That planetary fortress will go down. We have a full-on base trade here, full-on base race, as Oliveira is desperately trying to make something happen for him on the other side of the map. He's got his units split up into two different groups, a handful of bio units on this right side, and they will finally meet up again as they press forward into the natural base. But Dark again knocking at the front door of Oliveira's main base here. That is a lot of Lurkers doing so much damage to those Terran structures. Singular Lurker here working on those two orbital commands. Dark looking like he may want to go back home though to start to defend. As Oliveira is supply blocked, what you see is what you get as far as the units that he has. Dark still has some room to work with, still has more bases, more production to work with as well. As Oliveira is desperately trying to flip the tables here. They say do not base race a Terran, and maybe that might be exactly what Oliveira needs here, as he is shaving off the base count of Dark. Both of these players essentially on the same amount of bases here, and Dark just simply doesn't have the units that he needs to start clearing up all of these Terran structures. Oliveira has lifted up, is dropping off some of these command centers there. And again, is rotating now through the middle. And it is Dark with a slightly lower army supply, relying mainly on the Lurkers here, is morphing in some Infestors, so really gonna have to rely on the clutch Fungals to connect there. But until they come online, these Lurkers are sort of at the mercy of this Liberator, of these Ghosts. Spore Crawlers there in a very clutch position to try to ward off these Liberators. Dark really just has to hold on here. A couple of more Lurkers are taken out by the Ghosts. Those Ghosts really the saving grace here for Oliveira. As another Liberator is taken out. Both these players unsure of how to proceed next. Dark looking like he wanted to go back into the main base of Oliveira, is sending some Zerglings to take care of the rest of these Terran buildings, and Oliveira is sending only a singular medevac to handle those Zerglings. More Lurkers are falling. We do have the Infestors out on the field now, but we need to wait for their energy to start building up. Until then, Dark really is unable to make the clutch connections that he's looking for here. And it is Oliveira who is up in army supply, so the base trade was the play there to turn things around for Dark. And it does appear that Oliveira is the one in the driver's seat here. So we do just still have a handful of units in the main base of Oliveira. Singular Core has a lot to say about that, though. We'll start clearing things up. And these two players essentially at an impasse on this right-hand base. Dark is the only player with mining, though. Absolutely no mining whatsoever for Oliveira. And that is crucial for Dark, but Oliveira now making his move here. The snipes do go down and they connect with everything. The EMP is wiping out the energy from those infestors. Fundle does connect, but it is not going to be enough as all of these ground Zerg units are taken out. Singular Lurker there for Dark. Handful of Zerglings as well. Those are some severely low ghosts, though. We need a medevac or two to heal these units up. And Dark really is just relying on these infestors, but the production simply is not there for him, and these tier 1 units are gonna cut it for Dark. These two players just left with so little, and truly a great way to start things off here in this best of 5 series, in this finals match. Dark is morphing in more Hydralisk, wants to make more Zerglings. And with that little poke in, Oliveira will just tap out. So far, neither of these players able to really do too much damage to the other. Handful of Zerglings, a couple of roaches, and some drones being lost for Dark. That really is par for the course at this stage of the game. And these Marines just going to drop right in and take out this extractor for Dark. Biles try to connect with them, but the superior mobility of the Marines ensures that they in fact will not get touched at all. He is consolidating his forces in the middle of the map and is looking to be in a pretty strong position for a push out. That is 4 tanks and a good chunk of Hellbats here moving down onto this base of Dark. Dark, what does he have to defend with this? Just some Ravagers and some Lings, it looks like. The Concave is going to be there trying to go for some kind of surround, but Oliveira able to shrug Dark off from that high ground position. And now continuing his advance. The Banshees are coming back in here. And the Biles trying to connect with what they can, trying to zone out this Terran force, but it does look like Dark indeed will be forced to back off from this base. Oliveira takes his first patchery of this match. Doesn't seem to be showing any signs of slowing down. Dark is making his move now. The Blings do press forward. Biles trying to make what work they can get done here. But no tank has gone down, and these tanks really are the decisive instrument for Oliveira, as so much damage is being brought down here on Dark. He's just not able to hold off this onslaught. The Banelings try as they might, don't get the connections they were looking for, and Dark's army supply is looking pretty sketchy here. Huge tank connections there with the force of Dark. Is it enough? Dark cleaning up all of these tanks actually with the Ravagers, has some fight left in him, and actually going to clean up every bit of Oliveira here, who's forced to push back. We'll see what the income looks like for these players. It is Oliveira mining more, and we likely have Mules to thank for that, as he is making a play down on this left-hand side. Trone's just going to be forced to evacuate outright here. We do have the couple of Vipers coming in here. It's not going to be enough to take those medevacs out. Certainly enough to force Oliveira to go back home. Another drop making its way down again on this right-hand side, on this hatchery that was already taken out here. Aliens do connect with some of the Marines. Oliveira is tenacious and won't go back home until he's forced to. We have Oliveira moving out again, and this may just be the killing blow here, as that is a lot of Terran army. Oliveira angling for his 5th base, and Dark just barely reclaiming this base that was killed off earlier. from Oliveira. Just kind of full stop, retreat everything. As he knows this is a very difficult position to hold. Instead, going to opt for holding this high ground back here. We'll be launching forward with these Zerglings, with the Biles. Takes out a tank, does Dark. Now with the help of Banelings as well, maybe looking to connect with these Bio units. Is it going to be enough? Siege tanks are sieging up in the back. The Viper's moving forward, wanting to maybe abduct, but it is not going to be enough. And Oliveira evens the score here, 1-1, meeting up with the Reaper in the center of the map before moving out again, looking for some drones to roast here. Immediately met by these Queens, though, of Dark on the top of the ramp. Great positioning there. Going to continue to dive forward, as at the same time, Dark is setting up his own lane counterattack in the completely undefended natural mineral line. Dark, though, has some units in his natural mineral line and already has taken out 2 of the 4 Hellions. Last Hellion is extremely low. Gonna continue to make its way into the main base just to get a scout off. Dark able to move himself out of danger so far with the Medivacs. Also going to be able to pick up and lift off. Doesn't want to move too forward there. Loses a singular Medivac from the Queens there. And Oliveira simply doesn't have the units just yet to contest, or rather to defend this third base. Now with the Hellions will in fact do so, but Dark looks like he's setting up some kind of surround with the Zerglings, and indeed that is what's happening here, as we do have the Zerglings running forward. Is it going to be enough? Hellions trying to roast as many as they can, and the Zerglings will be forwarded off. Kind of a dicey position there for Oliveira, but immediately tucking himself into that mineral line and reducing that surface area for the Zerglings. Also, Oliveira trying to capture Dark's attention with this move out on the bottom right-hand side, while at the same time sending the Liberators to do his bidding on the opposite side. They will be moving into the natural base. Oliveira doesn't see a hatchery here to kill, so we'll be moving up the ramp now. That is a lot of Banelings for Dark. Will he get the connections that he needs? They are moving forward, connecting mainly with the Hellbats in front, and they are going to tank all of that Baneling damage there. As he's able to move forward, the Queens not able to send enough damage on those Medivacs. Oliveira going to drop into the main base again, forcing Dark to go all the way back home. This mineral line has been cleared up a lot. That is 16 drones that have been taken out and counting now. As more Banelings streaming through, do make some connections, but it is really Oliveira in the driver's seat here, as at a dicey worker count at 60 workers, 69 for Oliveira. We can see it is helping him slightly there in the income advantage. Again, another drop coming on this top left-hand side. Drone's going to be pulled out, and Dark with that is just going to tap out, and Oliveira will take the third and final game in this best of 3. And I've been your host, Stasis. I greatly appreciate you watching this match. I am a new StarCraft 2 caster, and I would greatly appreciate if you could like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed the casting, and I will catch you all next time on StarCraft 2 Fight Night.